On today's episode of Canine Crimestoppers, Detective Fiona will be solving a burglary case. On the morning of April 22nd, 2020, Kitty woke up to a devastating discovery. His most prized possession was missing, his food. Someone had stolen every last piece of food from the bag. After investigating the scene, Detective Fiona finally had a lineup. Suspect 1, Oakley, who has a previous track record of stealing food. Suspect 2, Kiwi, the grumpy parakeet. Suspect 3, Layla, who is notorious for running off with anything she can get her mouth on. Suspect 4, Quilliam, the only one who is previously known to love cat food as much as Kitty. And suspects 5 and 6, the father and son duo Gilbert and Griswold, who are mostly known for their snacking habits. 2 samples of DNA were taken from the crime scene. Using processes like PCR and gel electrophoresis, experts can amplify DNA sequences and use them for identification based on lengths of segments. After replicating the segments in PCR, the fragments are loaded into wells on a gel. Since DNA is negatively charged, it will migrate towards the positive end of the gel. For this case, Detective Fiona amplified 2 variable number tandem repeat loci ran on separate gels to complete the DNA fingerprinting analysis. The different numbers of repeats from the V and TR loci can be used to determine who has which alleles. The suspects can be excluded from leaving evidence at the scene if they are not an exact match at all loci. Here is the resulting DNA fingerprint. The first thing that Fiona can note from the DNA fingerprint analysis is that the DNA lines up with the fact that Gilbert is Griswold's biological father. A child gets 1 allele from their mother and 1 allele from their father. Looking at locus 1, Griswold and Gilbert match at this allele. Griswold would have gotten this allele from Gilbert and the other from his mother, who is not shown in this DNA fingerprint. At the second locus, Gilbert and Griswold again match at 1 allele, and Griswold would have received the other from his mother. Now to find out which suspect is guilty of stealing Kitty's food, Detective Fiona must analyze each of their DNA in comparison to the samples obtained at the scene. Looking at sample 1 at the first locus, we can see that Kitty, the victim, and Layla are exact matches. Fiona can exclude Oakley, Kiwi, Quilliam, Gilbert, and Griswold from leaving the first sample. Even though some of them match at 1 allele, they must be a complete match to continue being considered as a suspect. At the second locus, Kitty and Griswold are exact matches for sample 1. Since Griswold was ruled out as a match at the first locus, Detective Fiona can conclude that the first sample was left behind from the victim, Kitty. For the second DNA sample, Kiwi, Quilliam, and Oakley match at all alleles at the first locus. Kitty, Layla, Gilbert, and Griswold can all be excluded. At the second locus for sample 2, Kiwi and Gilbert are the only exact matches. Although Quilliam and Oakley were exact matches at the first locus, they do not match at the second, so they can be excluded. Gilbert matches at the second locus, but he was already ruled out from the first locus. This leaves only one suspect that is an exact match at all alleles and all loci of the evidence.